You have not come to the wrong place. This is actually This is Matt Harmon's hair game when he gets about 30, 40 years older. Welcome to the RSP Film Room. I'm Matt Waldman for RSP Film Room number 50. And let's get rid of this crap before I lose anybody before we even begin.
I had just to pull back the curtain right away, I had no idea that was coming. So I'm just as surprised as everybody else.
Hey, I told him I had something up my sleeve. So again, welcome aboard to episode number 50 of the RSP Film Room. It is late Friday night. I've just swum back across the Pacific after doing two podcasts in Australia to join Mr. Harmon, where I was told by the Woot and Wye show, Woot and Wye, the NFL, the two Joshes, that they were glad to be on the undercard for Matt Harmon. Actually, they said correction. They were glad to be on the undercard for Charlie.
Yeah, Chuck is over there. He's here with everything.
We're gonna have
laying down.
We're gonna have to get him in. We're gonna have to get him up and going. And I think that I've got a feeling that we've got somebody that might get things underway here and off with a bang. We're gonna profile Clemson wide receiver Mike Williams, a 6'4", 210-pound prospect from a program that has been loaded with talent, as we've seen by Mr. Sammy Watkins, Martavis Bryant, DeAndre Hopkins, just to name a few. Before we get started, I'm just going to let you guys know our little get out of the way legal stuff here, which is the videos here posted at the RSP Film Room are not hosted on this server, and the original content is not considered the property of the RSP Film Room. The videos are considered to be used under the fair use doctrine of the U.S. copyright law, Title 17 U.S. Code Sections 107 through 118, and the videos are used on the site for editorial and educational purposes only, and the RSP Film Room and its staff, me, Stoner, whatever cats around here cataloging film, do not claim ownership of any original video content in the RSP Film Room and its staff. Do not use the video clips in advertisements, marketing, or for direct financial gain. All video content in each clip is considered owned by the individual broadcast companies. All right, someday, maybe by the time I don't have to use this anymore, I will actually know it by heart. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I know nothing about Mike Williams. Matt, do you know anything about Mike Williams?
I know nothing about Mike Williams. Although, as a staunch believer in name scouting, not a good start being named Mike Williams and being a potential receiver in the NFL. So that's all I know about Mike Williams. So
okay. Well, there we go, which is funny. And, and he is referring to, of course, the former USC receiver who was a great prospect at one point, who just never quite panned out, other than a year in Seattle where he did look like the flashes of the guy that we all expected to be a pretty darn good one. Today, I think
same thing with that guy from Syracuse who played a while who got drafted by the Bucs in the 4th round.
Yeah, man, that's true. That's true. So maybe number 3 is the charm. So we are going to find out today. We're going to start with, there's a few games that we have available. We're going to start with the Clemson NC State game, because NC State is a pretty good defense in the sense that they like to play press coverage, and it gives you a chance to see how advanced the skills of these receivers are getting off the line of scrimmage. I really enjoyed watching Devontae Parker last year against NC State because it revealed some of his flaws that he had to work on and develop, and we'll see how much time and opportunity he's really had with this layoff to actually get some of that work in. So that's how we're going to get started here. And if you aren't familiar with Matt Harmon, I guess I assume everybody here is watching it is. Matt Harmon is a footballguys.com and NFL.com writer who does excellent work with his own blog too, Backyard Banter, and he is known for reception perception. I was going to say reclamation proclamation as a little note to our listener, RF Hassan. Matt does a great job with that. And Matt, can you tell folks, as I queue up this video, a little bit about reception perception, basically what the lowdown is for anyone who's new and wants to go explore all the fine work you're doing with it.
Yeah, reception perception is the unique wide receiver methodology that I came out with. It's probably been out over a year now. So, but primarily a lot of the charting went down this off season. It's just a really simple, easy to digest statistical analytics formula for evaluating wide receiver. That's all based on an in-depth charting process. So I really think it's a very unique and fresh approach to evaluating the wide receiver position, but it also paints a really complete picture of their game. So there's a lot of, just like I said, real simple, easy to digest measurements that help kind of give you a picture of a wide receiver's game.
Yeah, and I think it does a really great job of doing that. Always a fun read and an informative read, and it gives you an idea. And I think what I like about Matt is that with his work is that he explores the pros and cons, but also speculates where maybe the data doesn't always fit it perfectly, and explains why that is, and gives some possibilities for how that works. So he's not a slave to the numbers in the sense of he's strict with his numbers, but his interpretation, he gives room to explore where some of that information may have some exceptions to the rule, may not,
right,
but still then will give you a hard take based on those numbers. So it's a really well-rounded analysis. We're going to get started here, and if you aren't familiar with what we do in this RSP Film Room episodes, here's the basic deal. This is two guys watching tape. We're going to look at highlights from Draft Breakdown, which is just an incredible site that is a repository for all sorts of draft highlights. We have guys that basically get together who watch the tape and then cut it down to get cut-ups of every play for each player that they are profiling on their site. They get through an exhaustive list of prospects each year, and they have a nice library thus far. Brian Perez, who owns the site, does just a fantastic job with a number of people who are aboard here. So we're going to watch the tape together. I'm going to slow things down. We're going to rewind stuff. We're going to talk about what we see technique-wise, anything that we can glean from just athleticism, as well as just some X and O strategy at times, and anything that just kind of comes to mind about football. This is usually a show that lasts anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and a half, depending what we do. We'll probably aim for about 60 here, unless we just get really rolling. We've got these, and now this year I'm doing RSP Film Room shorts, which are 5 to 10 minute videos. So if you're not into the whole exhaustive, let's look at this together and talk about everything that we see, I'm giving short video breakdowns as well that are highlights, and you can check those out. I call them RSP Boiler Rooms, and they are on this YouTube channel. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start off with the speed at half speed. And one of the things that I don't know about Matt, I'd love to be able to share, is just some things I've been learning and reading over the off season, which is really looking at coverage and looking at the type of coverage that they have. And this is a really nice opportunity to kind of do that, because you've got basically an empty set, and then they're going to imply here maybe there's some sort of, it looks like either an end around or some sort of read option variant here, if the ball snapped before this receiver motions across the backfield. But looking at the coverage, one of the things that I've been reading a lot about is, looking at the triangle of defenders and learning about what kind of route the receiver is probably going to be doing, or what kind of coverage he's expecting, based on what we see with the cornerback, the linebacker, and the safety. And in this case, we have a slot defender as well. But we have, the safety being inside the hash and being deep, and we have two safeties deep, generally says that this is some sort of cover two or zone coverage in some regards. But because we have these men spread out this way, it can also indicate with the spread type of format that each defender is going to have a man. And because this defender, this cornerback is playing inside shade of the receiver, it's very likely that this is going to be man coverage as opposed to being a zone
Mhm.
coverage. Because zone coverage is generally the corner being outside and filtering the receiver deep so that we have deep help over the middle. But in this case, we have it this man on the inside and using the sideline as his friend. He doesn't want to allow the receiver inside, and he's going to be covering him alongside the boundary. So that's kind of the stuff I've been kind of working on this summer, is just kind of looking at trying to read coverages and have them consider these triangles from that standpoint. So let's
It's
go ahead.
definitely important. Definitely
Yeah,
important.
because it will tell you a little bit about routes and reads. And in this case, you can see we just got a short pass, but now it's a double pass. So this is kind of neat because we're going to see Mike Williams act as a blocker, and he does a pretty good job stalking and getting square right off the bat. And then as this pass is thrown, this lateral, you see him make contact, but then just completely work outside and up the field. And nothing ends up coming out of it, but
Yeah.
you see the effort to sell.
It's a little choppy here on my end.
Okay,
Uh,
let's
but
see if let's see if I can do it at full speed.
yeah, let me
And
see full speed.
okay,
It's the fun part of the show.
how's that?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay. Now, I mean, again, this is just a typical slant route, but again, you can look at what they're doing ahead of the ball. Obviously, you're looking at outside shade, so this is going to be zone coverage because you've got the safety playing outside the hash, you've got the cornerback playing outside the man, so he's going to filter him inside, and then you're looking at the linebacker here or this defensive end. Defensive end's showing rush. The linebacker is also playing closer to the hash, so he's probably got coverage of this running back. This is where it's a pretty good setup for a slant, and a slant is generally a three-step route where you're going to break at a 45-degree angle or at the angle that the safety is going to give you in this particular route. And right off the bat, you see a nice pump into the arms and legs in conjunction.
I was gonna say I like the way he kind of mixed those together. Really creates himself pretty good separation initially, right there for the quick slant.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not bad. Just not open. And when you look at the break too, I mean, the things that if I was going to criticize anything about this, there's a little hesitation at the top of this break. So I don't know how much he's completely sold the vertical, but there's kind of a little bit of a false step there. It's not as smooth, but the break is pretty good right here. And I would say the only thing that I didn't like is maybe he's reading the quarterback and thinking he might be getting it, so he's drifting a little bit closer to the defender.
I was gonna say he doesn't do a lot to adjust once that safety's there. You'd like to see him do a little more than just kind of keep looking back at the quarterback.
Yeah. The only other thing that I could imagine is he knows that the quarterback may be going over top and maybe drifts back a little bit to suck in the safety so that there is room over top. But I don't think that that's something that he's going to be. He knows what the routes are probably doing around him, but I don't think he's knowing that the quarterback is reading that, because where he's looking right here, he's not knowing where the safety is. He's just naturally drifting.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that looked easy.
Yeah, right.
Let's see if they get a chance. Yeah, we're going to get to see this in slow motion. And it's a double move. And we see the bite from the safety here, also with the high-low read. And that looked a lot
Yeah.
like the end of the Martavis
I
Bryant
was
catch.
I was gonna say he looked a lot like another Clemson receiver tonight in the preseason game.
Yeah.
Um, and something that's a little different from what Bryant does, because Bryant just is always so smooth and just looks like he's playing at a different speed than everybody else on those vertical routes. I love the sell there, and just he took that one determined step and covered a lot of ground, and then just shoots off away from the safety.
Yeah.
There's a lot of determination in that move there. That's kind of cool to see.
Yes. And here's the thing that's so we've talked about this a lot, and I know that Matt and I have both talked about this a lot on past shows, but one of the most important things you do fundamentally is you need to always be selling the vertical route. Always sell that 9 route, the deep go route. If you're doing that, you are going to be able to then work a lot of routes off of the defender believing that he has to defend that deep ball. And part of that is respecting your speed. Also, it's about how you get off the line of scrimmage. And look at his get off. He's got his pads well over his knees. His eyes are looking downfield. His head is up. And I read about this today, actually. I'm sitting here. I was taking a break from work and I was at lunch, and I'm sitting under a Julio Jones poster at some place reading a book on wide receiver play. And Al Davis was talking about vertical eyes, and that you want to have receivers have vertical eyes, meaning that they're always selling the downfield by looking downfield on their route.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of see that here all the way until his break, and the fact that he stayed that vertical, he kept looking downfield until the very end and turns back, sells that quick reaction, because you're sold he's going to go deep until that very point. And when you make that change like that, that and the turn, that completely sucks in the safety.
Yeah, that's hard to recover from as a defender. Yeah, that's really impressive. Kind of, you always talk about the integrated technique and all that. Integrating all those deep techniques right there on that route is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and it's the subtlety. You know, the better the receiver is, the more subtle things he can do with those fundamental skills that you're looking for. Selling the vertical route, keeping a straight line, being able to read the defense, your step counts, step size, all those things that are going to be important technically, but then adding in little flavors here and there.
Yeah.
Really, really bring it home. So now we got another route here that looks like outside, a little bit of outside shade, possibly. I think I'm seeing that right. With the defender wide out here. So you're looking at another possibility of zone. We're going to see how this plays out. Now, we didn't get to, this ended up being a run, but I thought this was kind of neat to see in terms of a release. He's got 3 stutter steps and then tries to basically use his arm over to swat down.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have been nice. A nice release if it were a pass play.
Yeah, so let's look at it one more time. Yeah, I mean, I like that he's willing to get physical. He's willing to use his hands a little bit. We'll have to see more to really determine what the deal is. But this was nice.
Yeah, now my feet's kind of choppy again. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe it'd go back to half speed.
Okay, let's give it a shot. All right. So on this particular play, we're going to watch it one more time for Matt. How was that?
That was better. I like I like I like a little bit of what I'm seeing with the balls in it, with the ball in his hand there. Um, Definitely shows a little fight towards the end of the play.
Yeah, I mean he uses his size well to fall forward. I like his
Mhm.
hands technique catching the ball, although it's a short pass, and I especially like that he's communicating with his quarterback before the snap and pointing out that his man is coming.
Ah, yeah, very
And
good.
he points that out, so then you have that instant read where he's just turning around and catching the ball. That's an adjustment pre-snap.
Hmm.
And while I don't like that he's carrying the ball in on his inside arm,
Yeah.
he does turn his shoulder away and dip it, which is good technique. He does have the ball high and tight, and he's able to resist the rip, which almost got him there. But he was strong. He was strong enough, so you get to see that. As a kind of big, rangy athlete who is aware, he just may need to be better at his technique with ball security.
What a deep
Nice.
catch. Yeah. That was really good. It's another thing we've talked about before with the late hands. That was really good timing with when he put the mitts up at the end of the route there.
Yeah, and this is double coverage. I mean, he's getting
Hmm.
help over top. Safety's well outside the line of scrimmage and the hash, and he's playing outside shade to filter him inside. And you look at Williams; he just splits both these guys without any. He doesn't get any contact to him, so that helps. But you don't want to. You got to get your hands on this guy, and he
Yeah,
tracks it
right.
in. And I love that that late hands is important on a vertical route, as you mentioned, because you got to run through the ball a lot of times. And he doesn't, until that ball is like almost over top him, that's when his hands come out and he extends fully for the ball.
Yeah, really good, impressive timing there at the end. Um, because and it shows he's pretty good. He's pretty good ball tracker on that play for sure. Um, that's that was one I always like, something that, and this is kind of an odd feeling, but like something I always like to see with the receiver is if it in a deep play like this, if like I'm almost not sure if they're going to catch it, like right there, I was like, oh, is he going to get out there in time? And then he did, and I was like, oh, that looked easy. Never mind. And I
Yeah.
don't know. That's always cool to see.
And I think I think a good point with that is a couple of things. Like this angle is actually really great where we're seeing it overhead, because watch where the last step comes in. Last step right here, because he's striding all the way through, some receivers will shorten their step about right here and then leap. Like they like
Mhm.
plant and leap like they're diving off a diving board. He actually continues his stride and leans through that last step. So while it's a dive in a sense, he's not he's not stopping and jumping, which we see some inexperienced receivers try to do,
Mhm.
and that's where the ball tends to go an inch or a foot or two past their hands.
Yeah, right. And in this, he's just trusting his hands to finish the job as opposed to getting his whole body into it, or like you said, with that leap. And I like the confidence that he shows in his own hands here. It's obviously an important aspect for a wide receiver.
Yeah, it's a very good play. Fun play to watch there.
Yeah.
All right, so generally you would think that this is going to be that you would get some single coverage here, but again, we got the safety outside. We got looks like inside shade again.
Shade inside, yep.
So, well, this is inside shade. So then, yeah, you're looking like probably some double. You're probably going to get some single coverage here, um, because of the fact that he's playing a little bit inside. So let's see if we get some single. And we do. You
Yeah,
start to see
yep.
it. the motion there, the safety reacting to the shift. And it's a run play. So, but it's this is good too. You're getting to see him work upfield. It's an important part of the game. He sells a little bit of the release, gets his hands on him, looks back, engages, and is able to turn his man to the sideline. I mean, that's a nice play.
Yeah, that's how you create a lot of extra space for your runner there, by first selling the release, selling the route, and then by the time that you start to get into your block, you're 5 or more yards downfield. That's a lot of extra space for your runner to get to the outside.
Yeah,
excellent. Good block.
Yeah,
a good block.
I mean, it's not physical, it's not fancy, but it's
right.
Good position. Well, all right, so now we got outside shade. We got the outside safety on outside the hash here. Probably some zone here unless we see something change last second. And with the shift here, now that you've got the safety here, this is where the difference between college football and pro football, why people say, well, you said he gets off press well, or he runs good routes, or why is he struggling in the NFL? Because in the NFL, the way that defenses disguise their coverage until the very last second is much more advanced than what you often see in the college game. So these guys aren't used to reading the varieties of looks where maybe one side it's zone, the other side it's man, or they show zone on one side and then flip-flop it. Right now, we're seeing a little bit of an adjustment turning in, and then this guy here. So you see him read it fairly well. But what's interesting is that this is still a zone, because while this safety's coming up, you're seeing a rotation happen. Number 8's rotating upwards to the middle as the safety comes downhill. And so you're still playing outside shade, filtering this guy inside on a post. And it's a very, it's a well-run route.
Yeah. Again, definitely did a pretty good job of selling the vertical route, and then breaks at a really good point for his quarterback there, kind of just really in a good position.
Now, what's interesting is he's probably reading, and I think you're very right about this break point, because the theory of, like, say, a post route is generally a 12 steps or 12-yard stem, and then a break. And that break depends on the angle of the break depends on the position of the corner and if there's a safety over top. So if there's a safety over top and the corner's playing outside, you're going to break at a steeper angle inside. If there's no safety over top and the corners may be underneath you, you're going to break at a more narrow, at an angle where it's deeper but not as steep inside. So it's like, so you end up having a deeper break on that, and you're trying to get behind the corner. With the safety behind here on the inside here and this guy outside, you're going to see this steeper break, and he breaks it a little early, but you have to wonder, maybe he does that because he sees the safety still trying to drop back. But I also think that it could also depend on the way they run the post route, because the post route can be a different step amount and break timing point for depending on your team.
It's very true.
It's a nice play.
Yeah. He's got some good nuance to his game so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think mentally he's sharp with what he's being asked to do.
Yeah. Whoops.
Yep. But let's look back at this route here again. outside the hash, but this time this is playing inside shade. So
Mhm.
you're looking at probably single coverage, or or um, or maybe a bracket. But I think it's going to be single because the safety is probably and here's where you see the tell. Just before the snap, the safety takes a step back and towards the inside, the safety climbs up. That tells you
Mhm.
this is single high coverage, and this side is at least going to be man coverage on this single receiver.
Kenny gets that arm out there
Yep.
this time. This time, it didn't really look like he got much separation on that route.
No, but with an in breaking route, though, let's see. I mean, if he's it, I don't really. To me, what's hard for me to tell. Can you tell? Do you think you know what kind of route he actually was trying to run here? Because it could be a
No.
it could be a dig, and he just didn't break it off sharp enough here, or it could be a post, and he just and his angle on it. It looks, we can't see from the all. We'd have to see from the all 22 whether or not
Right.
whether we could tell whether that was supposed to be a dig or a post.
Yeah, it's hard to tell too, because you probably had to get a little off script when you see your quarterback has gotten himself in trouble back there. So definitely right there, I thought it looked like a dig, but then when he starts drifting more downfield, then I would think it would be a post route. But like I said, maybe he goes off script a little because the quarterback's in trouble.
Right. And if I were to guess right now, I would be harder on the receiver. I'm going to guess that it was supposed to be a dig and that he rounded off the route,
Yeah.
and the quarterback saw that he was well covered because of the drift here, because he
Mhm.
drifted on that slant earlier in the game. And if he's drifted on these two routes, the quarterback's like, well, I can't do anything here because he's running right into the safety now. Now I need to look somewhere else. So
Yeah, it's a pretty sloppy route overall. I mean, you know, with the break there.
yeah. So I mean, if we'd have to see more games,
Hmm.
it's not all 22, but if I were to guess on that, and since I'm not doing I'm not writing this down for any publication, my guess is that it was just, yeah, it was a sloppy break that drifted, and he basically ran his quarterback out of an opportunity to throw the ball.
Yeah.
Here's another looking like zone opportunity here, and it's off or off man.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's a well designed play.
Yeah, that's a good, and I like that. I like that one. He keeps working back to the quarterback to make the throw easier because he does obviously he's got to throw off his back foot, but right then he leans right in. It's good fluid hips in there to just lean right upfield and start going into open space. Gets a good block and is able to get downfield.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. And the other thing, again, we talk about, you know, moving the arms and feet in succession. This is supposed to the theory behind moving your arms and feet at the same time is that it's supposed to speed up your steps. If you can move,
Mm-hmm.
if doing that in sync makes your steps faster. So wide receiver coaches often recommend to do that at the top of your break. Um, and it also gives the illusion that you are still trying to head downfield and accelerate just before you're about to stop. Sometimes I see it and it looks like they're going through the motions with it, but when it's done really well, you can see the effectiveness of that type of a technique.
Yeah, he definitely can. It makes a big difference.
Ooh boy! All right, let's see if we see any type of replay from this. All right, so let's advance this a little further and see if they'll show it.
Definitely has to slow up for this, but maybe he did not have to slow up to it for it. But the cornerbacks obviously got good coverage right there.
Yeah, and they call it.
Yeah.
They call the interference, and it's a good call because one of the things that you want to see with let's see if we can look back at the beginning of the route one time here. Again, this is that other. I think this is the right play. Let me see. No, this was that dig route that was sloppy. All right, here we go. So we got off coverage here. We've got one deep safety on this side, so this is going to be off man, and he's playing inside, so it is certainly man coverage. And you could see that past the 12-yard point, you see a little bit of an ode by the receiver, an ode to the post with this dip inside right here.
Yeah.
And then he's running the go route. And now we'll fast forward it to this point where he gets outside. And one of the things I like is the receivers are taught that there should be a 5-yard box between them and the sideline on a go route. And that's there. And he's trying to maintain that line. But with Burris, watch Burris here just shove him about 3 times with his arm.
Yeah.
1, 2. We saw the second and third, but that was it. That was enough right there.
Yeah, and Homeboy's quarterback does not really have a good opportunity to make a sound throw back there. I can't. That's like second play in the last few that he's kind of throw bad body position because he definitely had that room on the sideline. He maintained, like you said, that space. But the throw comes more inside, and then you got the corner pushing him around there. So, but he did have that good post sell, so I like that part.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that the vertical route, he certainly loves to play the vertical game, has had success with it, and you can tell that that's his strength. But you get the one push, second push right there, and then watch him give a little body English with his hip.
Yeah, boop.
A little bit of the butt right there. So yeah. But you can tell. You look at Clemson and you see Martavis Bryant, you see Mike Williams. You can see some similarities in body type.
I was going to say, yeah, they definitely. I mean, they just look the same too, like out there on the field. Same sort of size, and neither one of them is the 6'3", 220 something. They're both in the 210s or something like that. So 210s.
Yeah, they're kind of that long, lithe, wiry Randy Moss, AJ Green kind of build.
Right. They're not like a thick Julio Jones sort of guy.
No. And I don't know. Let's look at this one a little bit more. I mean, we got 2 deep safeties split. We got a little bit of a, he's not pressed to the line, playing a little out. Looks like outside shade. And filtered inside. Okay, so this is a good example of bracket coverage where the receiver has a little bit of a challenging route because this is an out route. He knows that he has to get outside, but NC State has done a really good job of putting it where it's like, I want you to play inside. You've got to somehow get inside this corner, and then I think this is right. Am I seeing? Maybe it's my old eyes, Matt. But does this look like he's playing outside shade to you? Because it looks like this foot's a little inside, but this foot's also a little bit more angled outside.
It does look like he's leaned a little, like his hip is leaned a little more outside.
Okay,
but the foot's definitely coming inside, so it's hard to tell.
Yeah, it's hard from this angle to be sure, but I'm going to say he's playing more of an outside shade here, which goes with this zone. And what's hard with that is that means that Williams has to find a way to get outside here. Yeah. And one way that he could do that, there's 2 ways that he can do that. One advanced way is to try and threaten the outside right away to make this defender turn his hips out, then break quickly to the inside and make the corner overreact and chase upfield and then break back outside. You would see a guy like Marvin Jones do that very well. That's why I love him, because he tells a story and knows how to do some of this stuff. But instead, what you're seeing is he comes downfield, sells the inside, and tries to get his pads low and accelerate upfield to get past the man. But he's just, the corner's playing too deep. Now he's in a position where it's like, I've got to get outside on this timing route. I've got a safety over top. I'm not going to be able to get the depth on the route that I need for me to catch this ball, because if I get too deep, I'm going to be sandwiched between the safety and the corner. So now I've got to break underneath and drift back to the ball.
Yeah.
And it's too shy. Now the throw's kind of high, but imagine if he's here when he breaks and catches it, or he gets to this point, and where the ball is, now you're seeing, here's the ball. It's probably about right here. He's about right there. It still might have been too high, but his route and this coverage exacerbated the miss.
Right. Yeah, it definitely did. That was definitely a challenging situation, and it's good to see him put through some of these things, because you don't like. It's a good call on your part to do NC State, because they kind of can do some of these things to receivers that most college teams don't do. So it's good. It's good to see him, work through that situation and, like you say, kind of run through the process of everything.
Yeah, because this is a play that if he's going to grow up and be Martavis Bryant or AJ Green, he's going to face this sometimes in the NFL, and he's going to have to learn how to really sell this route earlier at the line of scrimmage to get past this corner within the first 5 yards. And here's 5 yards right here. He knows at this 5 yard mark, he does not have separation, and he's going to have to cut under the guy.
Right. Yeah, he definitely goes hard charging too early, thinking that he's going to get get some vertical separation. It doesn't happen. Tries to adjust, but it's, like you said, it's just kind of too late for that.
Yeah, and it's good coverage. It is. I'm not going to sit there, I'm not going to sit here and say he's not a good route runner because he didn't get past double coverage, but but he's not a great route runner because he didn't get past double coverage.
Right.
If he sold that, I would be going, wow, this guy is really advanced for being a sophomore on this tape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good point. He is still very young on what we're watching right now.
Yeah. And this is a perfect example of that post read that we talked about earlier. And it's all about reading that triangle once again. So you got 1, 2, 3. This linebacker's way inside, so he knows that unless he was breaking across, he's not going to deal with any zone coverage in the flat from this linebacker unless NC State just tricked the heck out of this coverage. And he comes screaming out here. And so the good read is that. You got the safety outside, so you see safety help potentially, especially with this. But the defender, he was at an outside position a little earlier, I think. Let's take a look if we can see it. Yeah, he's playing outside here, but his butt's kind of angled back, and you see him start to drop right here. And that tells you off-man coverage, single coverage, with the safety starting to come down here. At this point, you're with this defender up top here, if he was going to run any other type of route, because often routes are connected together, a post might, a hook route might be connected to a post depending on the type of coverage it is. Or, what would be another type of route I'm trying to think of? An out might be connected with a post depending on the type of coverage that you see, or a slant in a post. This particular, I would imagine it's probably a hitch in a post. And when he saw that he had this type of coverage, he's going to go deep. He plants, and he takes a pretty sharp angle, and inside here.
Yeah, got himself a lot of room there.
Yeah,
That's nice.
it's a good read. The route the route from a conceptual viewpoint is what really makes this play, and not just the actual physical execution.
Yeah, definitely. You know, knowing knowing coverage and understanding coverage and then reading coverage is really underrated for receivers.
Yeah, and we're you know, and that's the thing. I mean, that's what we're going to see later in the end. That's the thing that really helps us see in the NFL whether they can make that transition. I mean, we saw it with Cordero Patterson. And the transition he's failed to make.
Yeah. Oh God. That didn't go well.
No. So I mean,
Jeez, Clemson's 41-0. So
yeah, but I mean, overall, that was there were some nice things about that tape. I would
yeah.
say.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's whenever you watch a big guy, you always kind of. And I don't know how athletic this kid is at all. I can't believe I just said this kid. Oh, that's terrible. He's probably like 3 years younger than me. I don't know like how athletic this guy is or anything. He didn't like pop off the page athlete wise. Other than on a couple of the deep routes and everything, but you normally would see big guy like just try to out athlete everybody, but he does bring in some good technical nuances and awareness sort of moves.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, if you want, we can watch another. If we're good here, we can do this another time. It's up to you.
Yeah,
You want to do one more?
fire away.
Okay, so let's do it. Oklahoma, and this should be fun because these guys face Dorial Green Beckham in practice pretty much every day. So,
Yeah,
um,
right.
so
Right.
let's see how they handle the other version of a tall receiver. So, and this is another good diagnostic play to look at. Um, right away, we're talking about the short out, and part of that read is probably seeing the blitz here, seeing the off man coverage with about a 5 yard gap or a little bit more, and the deep safety. So you know that this is a quick out right away. So it's a good read,
Yeah.
good catch, and we just saw a block there. I wouldn't say. Let's see.
No fight.
Yeah. I like the power though. I mean, I like that he's low on this particular route. Let's go back to that catch. Good pad level. And
Mm-hmm.
that's a drilled play. Those are drills.
Yeah, we saw something similar along the same lines where he kind of drove through contact, get towards the first down. This time he actually goes over the first down marker. So definitely understands his size, how to use his body to when he's got a defender around him.
Yeah, good ball security with the pads low, drives the legs. That's what you
Yeah,
want.
that was better ball security than what we saw last game.
Yes, indeed. Gets his head around fast on this route.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, like again, drills. Usually, how do you split defenders? And this is textbook splitting defenders. All right, so this is another block. This was the block. Nice stalk inside to work outside. Gets his outside hand. So, yeah, I mean, you could see where he would have been able to begin to turn that player if he needed to. So he was in good position. Now we got him down below. We've got some pretty wide safeties going on here. And then we've got an off man playing outside shade. So, and with this linebacker looking like he's staking outside, this looks like it could be zone for our man here. And indeed it is. And he's running the backside cross, it looks like. So, I mean, he reads it right.
Yeah, this is a new quarterback too, or a different one.
Yeah.
Just noticed that. What speed are we on right now?
Full speed.
Can we crank it to half?
Yeah, we can. Again, that off man, he reads that very well.
Yeah.
Now the break's not great. I mean, these are things
No.
that you're going to look at and say, you want basically, you want to come off, and he sells it decently, but you want to have a sharper step and turn. And these speed breaks a little hard to do, but I do like that he does start to work back to the ball. So it's not a
Yeah.
bad route. It just could be a little better.
Definitely, but like you said, it's kind of one negative sandwich between two pretty good jobs there with the initial sell, and then the break, like you said, could be better. But then he works back, catches the ball, and again does some charging downfield.
Yeah.
Tries to get everything he can out of it. What he might have lost on the break, he makes up for in another way.
Yeah, he's fluid. This is
Yeah, he's definitely fluid.
yeah.
Not a big stiff possession receiver type of guy.
No.
Yeah,
And
they trust
just
him to pick up that yard.
yeah, he's just smart. I mean, these are all smart plays. I mean, look at this. He turns back. You see him give a look to see how his blocking is doing just before
Yeah,
he has to go concentrate on the ball. But he looks it in. Well, maybe he turns up a little early, but he makes the catch anyway. And he doesn't try to dance. He's just like, okay, I'm submarining through. Yeah.
He's got a job to do on this play. Just get that 1 yard, and he does get it. He does get it done.
Yeah. He's not one of those guys that I think is going to, you can tell this game after 2 games that right now that it's not like, this is just God-given talent. I think this guy's a little bit of a worker.
Definitely seems that way. Oh shit! Did he catch that?
No,
No.
it's okay.
I was gonna make this point after the first video. That was the one thing we didn't really get to see in that first tape was any plays with him leaving his feet, really, or making plays with the ball in the air. So this is kind of important.
Yeah, and it's very good position by the cornerback
It is
on this route, and the ball is kind of just a high, go for it.
Yeah.
Can you win it?
Right.
And look, I'll say this is way better coverage than anything bad the receiver did. If he gets this, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean that would be like, I don't know if you're watching the games tonight, but Kelvin Benjamin made some freak show catch where the corner just didn't have any chance because he was, he's like 6'6" and a million or whatever. He's huge. Williams isn't that big, so yeah, it's like he can't really use the size advantage. This is too good a coverage to unless you're really a freak. This is pretty good coverage here. It's a good play by the corner. Honestly,
Really,
the whole tracking it, sticking the arm right in there at the good time to swat it down. But Williams definitely he's tracking. He's looking it in, and it's like you said, it gives it a pretty good go of it.
yeah, I'm not sure about the hand position, but it's hard to see. That's the only thing that I wonder about here.
He does come up with the Marquise Lee. It's good sort of position with his hands.
Yeah, and I don't know whether he was like, I'm trying to basket catch this ball or get my hands, which direction he really wanted his palms to be. Like, this isn't a position where you can come in between and pluck the ball over the top and pull it away. This is more of
right.
I'm hoping it lands in my bread basket between my hands.
Yeah.
But, that's something that could be worked on, but overall, it was just great coverage. You're right.
It really was.
All right, so now we got a single real deep safety, like about 15, 17 yards deep. Well, no, more like 22, 23 yards deep. And now we have kind of off inside. So we got a zone going on here. Yeah. So, I mean, nothing here other than that he just makes a nice read on the zone and knows where to break it based on the safety corner.
Yeah, I was going to say he does get some pretty good space in the zone there. But again, the coverage is all around him.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all floating with him, giving the other guy a chance to go down the field.
Yep.
He gets a lot of respect for a guy that's a sophomore.
Absolutely. It's a good point. Now we got that single off man, and he broke that off onto a dig, but he's not getting targeted there. So, and let's see if he saw the ball. I just want to see what his break looks like here because he sells it good initially. It's a nice little, nice off the line, nice after 5 yards. Kind of stands up a little bit here, but he does. I see a little bit of hip sink at the top of this route.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's potential there. You can see that he's got that flexibility to do that, even if it's not a great break on a dig route.
Yeah, he definitely has the hips and the body type to be a pretty good route runner for a big receiver. Like that capability is definitely in him. Whether he ever, and he does definitely show it a few times. The conceptual understanding to be a good route runner. That's encouraging. That I think at least you can definitely see on tape that he's got the skills for that assignment.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I'd say that'd be great if you'd said, hey, he uses the ball under his sideline arm this time, but this is the left side of the field, and it seems like he favors his left arm regardless of where he is.
Yeah. Being pretty physical again.
Yep. They've read that. Not much you can say there.
I got a little distracted seeing Mike Smith's name on the ticker down there at the bottom. Forgot about him.
What did it say?
That the Falcons fired Mike Smith.
Oh, okay.
I watched. I was just thinking about I watched the first episode of Hard Knocks last night, not 2 nights ago, and yeah, just the contrast of entertaining styles between Bill O'Brien as a coach and Mike Smith was really Mike Smith was on last year, so it was really interesting. Now I'm totally on a tangent, but
well, go ahead. So what was it about Mike Smith? What was different about the two?
Well, Mike Smith, last year was that whole year where the Falcons were trying so hard to insist, no, we're a tough team, because they had become so much of a passing offense with this kind of really finesse offensive line. So you could see that was their goal, a kind of a last-ditch effort to be a tough team, that Mike Smith was kind of cursing at his team, but he was wearing those little dorky Jesus sandals. And you could tell the players just didn't buy into it. Just wasn't, you could kind of tell watching that Hard Knocks last year that the Falcons season was over before it even started, because this coach was just not inspiring the players. It was just really just a vanilla guy that was trying to be this hard ass. But then O'Brien last night was, he was not last night, 2 nights ago. He was just really, really entertaining. Because he was really selling the whole nobody respects us, nobody respects our quarterbacks, and but was really fun. I know he said at one point, one of the guys, we made all the rookies say the veterans' names or whatever, and he goes, you went to Georgia, right? Let me tell you, I don't give a fuck about Georgia. I don't give a fuck about LSU. I don't give a fuck about any school you went. He was really a genuine, entertaining guy that you could tell you could tell why the team likes him.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So, I don't know. That's that coach psychology tangent.
Well, looking at some of this, I mean, we're gonna look at a shorter route that filters out of the backfield with, looks like, Williams trying to use his hands here and end up tripping over the defender after he gets a little bit of a shove to get the man outside. So it doesn't really help from a blocking standpoint, but
no, yeah.
But it's still, I mean, it helped clear the way a little bit. All right, so now looks like we got, again, single high off coverage, and then runs the short out.
Yeah, it's good understanding of space and zone and everything.
Not a
zone
bad
coverage.
Yeah,
not zone coverage, but yeah.
Not a bad break either.
No. It's good timing wise.
It's sharp enough.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yes.
I like that a lot.
All right, so let's watch it again. So,
I mean, I would have been impressed if he just made the catch here. Shows good understanding of where the sticks are, when to break off on the route, where the defender is, and then just even when the defender recovers a little and kind of contests the pass, he's still able to make the catch and everything and drive through the traffic or drive through the contact, break the tackle, and then go downfield. All that extra running was kind of icing on a cake to what was already a really good play.
There are a couple things I really liked about this too, watching it a few times now. That third step there, you're going to see the delayed reaction of the corner dip inside.
Yeah.
And put his foot in there. I like that because of the position there, he's able to break, and he breaks back to the ball. So he still got good depth on this route. He understood the route depth very well, because even breaking back out of his break here to attack the ball, he's still past the sticks.
Right.
Then I like that he's looking over his shoulder when he makes the catch, and a lot of players would just dip inside like that, and he does give a little bit of a dip and just has the field understand that he's going to take the hit on that shoulder, so why not just spin off of it to the outside?
Right.
I mean, that's nice awareness.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy. He's got a nice feel for a lot of little things right now. Even if he's not technically great, there's look at that. He's seeing it. He digs in. That's like that little Jamal Charles. I'm going to dip my shoulder into you first before you dip into me, but then make a move off it so that you're committed, but you can't really get the full contact on me.
Yeah, that's exciting. It's like I know you're into you're into music too. It's like when you get like a new student as a music teacher, and like they can't come in and rip all this all the scales and everything, or they can't kind of I don't know exactly how to say it, but they can't come in and just read music and pick everything up, but they come in and they have like a really good understanding of rhythm, of timing, and everything. So that's kind of how he is as a route runner, a technical player. Is like he shows some really good like baseline, like, oh, I can work with this, sort of thing. And then there's kind of more next level stuff he needs to get to that we've pointed out. But I like that we see a pretty good baseline understanding of like I can work with this sort of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a good analogy. And talking about timing rhythm, it's like having a good feel for the way the game works.
Right.
He feels the rhythm of what's going to happen to him, and then says, "I can alter this."
Right, and it happens so fast. It's good reaction time.
And we continue to see, the hips are so important to a good athlete, and you see the bend, you see the ability to stick the hand in the ground and stay balanced and keep your control of your feet like that. For a big guy, it's pretty nice.
Yeah, that is good.
I don't know if he, I don't think they gave him the touchdown there, but it was pretty darn close. He just jerked it
I
away.
I thought I saw the ref stick his
Did they do? Okay,
little
good.
hands up. I thought so.
Okay. All right, so now we're going to get again single coverage here, and it's a run play. I just like that after the first punch, he gets positioned consistently to the side he's supposed to get it to.
Yeah, doesn't just try to bang him out of the way. He's got a plan.
All right, now this, I don't think we're going to see anything in the rest of that play. Let's see. All right. Another run play, and I don't even see our man anywhere remotely here. See if he's further downfield. He's down here giving chase. This was zone. Nothing, not much more to say on that.
Yeah.
Single high, looks like.
Oh, that's a good little comeback there.
Yeah.
Can't really see the full perspective, but it definitely looks like that corner is trailing. But the corner also might see that the quarterback's already going somewhere else.
Yeah. Well, the cornerback starts to bail early, and he sees
Yeah.
that, so he sells the vertical nicely, and he gets the cornerback turned right here, which is really good, and then makes that stop. That's a very good route. That's a
Yeah.
nice, basically you're looking at a short hitch or curl. Yeah, that's good play. Nothing, not targeted, but good play. We haven't seen him that tight to the formation. He's just going to block. He's going to block. All right, so not much there. I mean, I like that he's willing to gauge an outside linebacker and stick with him.
Yeah, and he's pretty. He's not winning the block, quote unquote, but he's not getting embarrassed either.
No, not at this stage.
You definitely see some receivers get tossed around there.
All right, so what was going on here? Kind of got a sell of a post or an inside route, and then he gets a little grabbed and trips up over the feet of that man, and also the ball's not remotely there.
No, yeah, I was gonna say that's a problem.
Oop, double move. Got the pump fake. And we get another drawn flag. Let's see if we can see. Maybe they show us the other view.
I remember. Now it's all coming back to me. All this draft stuff. I remember this corner, number 15, Oklahoma. I think his last name might be Sanchez.
It is.
But he gave Tyler Lockett a real tough time. Tyler Lockett's obviously a different type of receiver, this guy, but this cornerback's definitely a big, a grabby, physical sort of player. And I think, you see him tug the jersey there. But yeah, he gave. It was funny if you go back and watch the Oklahoma tape of Tyler Lockett. You see he really succeeded on that left side, like as the left receiver against the right cornerback, but had a world of trouble on that against this guy number 15. So it's an interesting little test.
Good to know. Good stuff. All right, so now we some more off. Let's see. Nope. Run play. I like that he's focused downfield. He's not always just looking back to the ball carrier to see whether he has to block. He's actually looking to block.
Yeah. You definitely see some guys like, do I really have to be doing this right now?
Yeah, he's only looking back to see whether the ball carrier is up on him already coming out of the hole. Ooh.
Oh, that was good. He found that hole. That was nice.
Yeah, let's see that. Let's see a little more of that.
Yeah, definitely. I like what I've seen so far of him as a ball carrier.
Yeah.
On these screens.
Oops, wrong play. All right.
Yes.
Here we go. Oops. Should have just waited. Okay, comes back well. And it's, back shoulder. He does a good job there. And it's a nice split. He's just not afraid to stick his nose in there at all.
No.
That wins points with me anytime. Anytime a football player is like, look, my job's to go inside, and I'm going to be confident about it. That wins points. We haven't seen him drop anything.
No. Yeah, I mean, I think he's got good hands so far through these two games.
And we see him some.
Although, again, I'll definitely say something I mentioned a little while ago. We really still haven't seen him, have to make a play for the ball in the air yet. That would be something I would want to see more of. How he plays in contested situations. I know you and I had a good back and forth about that a couple weeks ago about how that can really be. It's not like there might be more important things to scouting a receiver, but their ability to play in traffic and make plays in contested situations can be that thing that really separates them from the pack.
Right. The difference between being a contributor in the NFL or a secondary receiver or being a stud primary guy.
Right. What do we have here?
Good coverage, I think.
Yeah.
And,
good coverage. Didn't really have. I mean, the quarterback doesn't really have a window to throw into here. If you can see where he throws it, it's a little far. Kind of similar to the play he had to make on the touchdown though from the last game.
Yeah,
but does not come up with this one. This is better coverage though. The guy's got his arm in there.
I almost think that, and this is probably the benefit of having of a grabby guy at cornerback. Once you're dealing with a guy who's always engaging you and being physical with you, I think psychologically you're prone to wanting that you start being grabby and touching them a little bit more than you need to, because he's already kind of ballasting himself up against this defender in a way where you're wondering, did I really even need to do that? Because now he's got to come over here and try and make the catch, and he's just a few inches away, where you're thinking, what if he didn't put his hand on that defender? Right.
You slow yourself down, and just to add another thing on the checklist there that you don't really need to do.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know whether I'd score off on that or not, but I know that it's interesting that, it's like a boxer who wants to brawl, who likes to brawl. Even if you're not a brawler by nature, if someone wants to brawl with you and starts taking the fight to you like that, you start to end up getting sucked into their way of fighting. And I think that's what happens with physical corners.
I was going to say, physical corners who also aren't huge guys or anything, a smaller physical corner can end up beating a bigger receiver if they suck them into that.
Yeah. Now here's a contested play that he doesn't make.
Yeah.
Let's see if we get the chance to see another. No, we don't get to see another view of it. So let's see. I mean, he gets to the right spot.
Right. Yeah.
Good hand position, but I think tracking the ball in there and then the hand being kind of a little bit in the way, he's just not able to come down with it.
Yeah, that's something you're going to want to pay attention to. You know, scouting him this year. You know, is how he does in those sort of situations.
Absolutely, because we can tell he runs the screen very well.
Yeah, that is not a concern.
Or getting his back to the coverage and making the play with his back to the quarterback. He does a very good job with that too. You know, you see the blocking, you see the reading of the field. All those things seem to be in order. I mean, this is a guy that I would say I like him as a prospect. I like what I see thus far. I don't know if he's a primary guy just yet, but you can see that you're pinpoint, as you mentioned, you're going to pinpoint a few things to see whether or not he can actually deliver as a primary guy or if he's more of a contributor.
He definitely pings as a guy that I'd really pay attention to this season because he definitely shows a lot of good baseline sort of things to be a good advanced technical route runner sort of player, especially for a guy with size. That definitely checks some of those initial boxes. You just want to see if he can advance in his technique and again how he plays in traffic, because those are two. If he checked those boxes off and continued to make big plays with the ball in his hand and show some of those good awareness deals that he did there, then you might be looking at a guy that could be a primary receiver. But yeah, there's definitely some work he has to do. But positive. I come away feeling pretty positive.
I do too, if only for the fact that Charlie's actually awake and up at the screen right now. That tells me away that Mike Williams caught his attention. So
he did, When we were midway through that I know that the viewing audience couldn't see, but when we were midway through the Oklahoma tape, he came over and popped up on my lap. Probably because we were talking about a small, scrappy little corner there. That's he identifies with those sort of players.
Well, I see. There you go. So that's Mike Williams in a nutshell for you. He passes the Charlie test, and I think he passed our test, at least as initially, that he has potential to be an NFL player, and that there's more reasons to watch him to see if he can be a very good one. So, Matt, once again, thanks again for kicking off the season with me. It was nice ending it with you with Nelson Aguilar. It was great getting a start with Mike Williams of Clemson. Hopefully, again, 3 times, hopefully the charm. And, for Matt, thanks again. And you guys have a good night.